Let's have a little chit chat, shall we? We're actually getting some nice, decent sunshine today. It has been cloudy and overcast and rainy for the last like 4 weeks. The high today is 66 and it is the end of June. It will probably be in the 70s on 4th of July. So I'm not complaining, I'm here for it, that's why I moved here. But let's go ahead, sit down, and let's talk about my TBR tracker. Welcome back to my channel. This is likely the 5th or 6th time that I have tried to just film this intro because for some reason I cannot stop saying and it's driving me crazy. I hope I make sense. All right, in today's video, I wanted to go through the process of creating my TBR tracker for my bookshelf challenge. Mentioned in my intro video, which may or may not still exist on this channel, I wanted to read all of the physical books on my bookshelf before buying any new books for myself. If anybody else wants to buy me books, my husband, that's totally fine. I will allow it. I may not read them because I have a list, it's a big list. We'll get to that in a little bit. I did create a TBR tracker over the last week that details everything on my bookshelf that I would like to have read. The purpose of this being that I have a lot of books, and I think most people fall into this category of owning a lot and never reading them. I wanted to have a physical representation outside of my actual bookshelf indicating what books I had left to read. You will see later on that on the cover of my tracker, I have written the year 2023. That is a very lofty goal to assume that I'm going to be able to read all these books this year. It's not going to happen. I know this to be true. I think we all know this to be true, but we're going to give it a shot. Do you remember when I was like, oh, maybe I can read all these books before the end of the year? What was I thinking? This isn't going to happen. In the meantime, I wanted to establish this tracker before I started getting into any of my monthly wrap-ups or my upcoming TBR stack. That way I had something to reflect back on and look to help me make my decisions for the upcoming month. These clips that you are about to see, you will find me over in my, what I affectionately call my book nook. It does contain a lot of pillows, a lot of blankets, a chair I've had since 1995, a table, and a rickety old bookshelf. It's not aesthetic over there, okay? If you're here for aesthetics, you're here for the wrong reason because you're not gonna get it. It's an old rickety bookshelf, all right? Over the last week, like I said, I created this TBR tracker on my iPad using GoodNotes. I do try to walk you through how I created that. Let's just discuss the fact that I'm not a professional content creator and this is the first time I've ever really tried to film anything. I'm not even sure if I'm looking at the right part on my phone, okay? Like, I understand how to take video and use my camera on my phone. I have had one for forever. This is a whole other level. So I hope I'm looking at you. Am I looking at you? I really hope so. I filmed these next clips over a week ago and then I ran into technical issues because, like I said, I do know how to use the camera on my phone, and the evidence of that was the 9,000 plus photos and videos that I had on my phone. So it should come as no surprise as I was filming the tracker how-to last week that my phone ran out of memory and stopped filming. You will see in a little bit that I am in the middle of talking and then the video just abruptly ends. And then suddenly we have a completed tracker. You're welcome for that. I did spend the last several days going through and deleting all of the photos and videos off of my phone after making sure they were backed up on an external website that I pay real good money for. So let's use it, shall we? Also, I did notice looking back through the film that there is an overhead shot of me creating the tracker and my microphone cord is in the way. You know, this is what these videos are for. I'm learning. I hope you enjoy the learning process. We all got to start somewhere, right? You know, fast forward a year from now, I'm going to be a total pro. No, I'm not. Blah, blah, blah. Some caveats for books that I'm not going to be reading from my bookshelf. 1, any cringe romance books, I am not going to be reading. I didn't buy those for myself. Number 2, no incomplete series. There are a few series that I do own. For the most part, they are complete, but there is one in particular that middle chunks are missing, and that is the books belonging to Janet Ivanovich, in particular the Stephanie Plum series. I have the first 5, and then there's a massive gap and it picks up again at number 13. I will probably read the first 5, but I'm not gonna jump ahead to 13. You're not gonna see that. Number 3, I will not be reading any of my nonfiction books. Any memoirs, any productivity, self-help, etc. I'm not gonna be reading those. I don't feel like that's fair necessarily. When I read a nonfiction book, I like to sit and slowly read it and absorb it. I'm not going to rush through their memoir because more likely than not, then I'm going to think I need to rate it a 2-star rating. And I saw recently someone say that they don't rate nonfiction books, they don't rate memoirs. And I thought, that's fair. That's fair because sometimes you just can't relate. So they're not even going to be a part of this TBR tracker. All right, so I just got done compiling all of the books that I have not read from that shelf into this notebook. Wow. So I estimated it was going to be about 65 books. I think there's 74. So as I was going through the bookshelf though, I was noticing that there's a lot of books I don't want to read. There's a lot that I've owned for like a really significant amount of time and they've yet to be read, probably for a good reason. Truly, I've owned some of them since high school. So just to be fair, I graduated in 2003. So I've had them in my possession for at least 20 years and they've been unread. There's also a couple books on there that I borrowed from people before we moved across the country and never gave back. I am not going to give myself a time limit on this. I thought, I'll definitely, I can have those read by the end of the year. Y'all know I am going to be having a baby in November. You know what? We're going to try it. There were some books that I did not include. So there were a couple books that I was going to that shelf and I was like, what is this? There's a book in there that I got a couple years ago that definitely looks like a steamy romance novel. It's the kind on the cover where it's two people and it's really cringy. It was awkwardly given to me by a phlebotomist at a Quest Diagnostic Center. She asked if I like to read and I said, yeah. And she said, I just finished this amazing book. And I was like, oh, what's it called? And she's like, I'll just give it to you. And she handed it to me and I thought, like, I should have left it in the waiting room, I know, but I couldn't. I walked out to the car with it and I was like, I will not be reading that book. I have no interest in that. So here's the other deal. I'm going to do my very, very best to not go on Goodreads. And if I do, it will be to mark that I've started reading the book. But I do not want to look up any ratings. I do not want to look up any reviews. I want to go into a lot of these blind because like I said, I've had a lot of them for a very long time and I want to give them a fair shot. Next steps, I'm going to be moving into my iPad. I'm going to grab GoodNotes and I'm going to create my TBR tracker. So the intention is that I will have a spot on the top where I can insert a photo of the cover that I'll just grab online. I'm not going to put a whole lot of detail into the tracker. I am going to try and do them by author's last name. So I'm going to try to keep everything in alphabetical order by author. But it will have the cover, what I ended up rating it, my start date, and my end date. That's it. And then I will keep a running tally on top that I have read, 2 out of 74 or 77, whatever it does end up being. That's the plan. I am going to go work on that now and see how it turns out. Should be pretty simple. I was going to mess around in Procreate and try to figure it out. And then I thought, like, why are you trying to overcomplicate things? Like, just do it in Goodreads. You can draw rectangles in there very easily. I will be back after and we'll call it a day. are looking at my TBR for my physical bookshelf. I do have on the cover here 2023. I believe I've mentioned that this will not be completed in 2023, so I will be updating this as the years move into 2024 and possibly 2025. Let's cross our fingers it doesn't get that far. As you can see here at the bottom, I do have 72 books to read, so I will be updating that as time goes on. For some reason, I feel like on here, seeing the covers feels a bit more, it seems a bit easier to make a decision than when I'm staring at the bookshelf. So I'm just gonna go page by page. There's 6 books per page, and I was delighted to find that this finishes evenly. So here we are getting into our Janet Ivanovich books that I haven't read. I'm really scared to read this Gillian Flynn book, I'm gonna be honest. And then we've got our Outlander series that I will be reading, the 2 books that I own. I'm sure John Green's gonna make me cry. I have here some, this is Book of the Month heavy. I'm pretty sure 5 of the 6 books on here I got from Book of the Month. Really looking forward to Tom Hanks' book, Uncommon Type. I think that's gonna be really good. All right, and then we're moving on to a page of books that I am terrified of. So I'm currently reading Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I am not scared of that one in the slightest. I am scared of these Dean Koontz books. I am scared of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Trixie Belden is a book that my mom had when she was a kid, and somehow I have it, and I have to read it. Oh yes, that is Love in Other Words. All right, we do have ACOTAR and A Court of Mist and Fury here. Is that Akomath? Is that how you say that one? Akomath? Here we are trying to figure it out together. I am really looking forward to True Biz, and also not looking forward to After You, because what was the name of the first book? Me Before You? I sobbed so hard. All right, this page, when I was making it, I got so incredibly excited as I was pulling these covers because I thought it was going to stay with a nice color theme, and then I had to pull up Normal People and it had green in it, and I was like, come on, you couldn't have stuck with all blue. It would have been beautiful. How Not to Die Alone. I have really been looking forward to reading this book. I don't know. The cover, like, it genuinely cracks me up. This cover. I mean, how are we not laughing at this? It's too much. I started Things We Never Got Over on Kindle, and I did end up buying it, the physical copy. So looking forward to reading that. Also really looking forward to Cartographers. Not a huge thriller person, so all these Karen Slaughter books make me a little nervous. Nicholas Sparks is definitely going to kick my butt. Another book from my mom when she was a teen, The Promise. And then all of a sudden I went through a Danielle Steele moment here and grabbed, well, I guess The Promise is Danielle Steele too, but I ended up grabbing 2 Danielle Steele books in 2008. I have heard wonderful things about A Gentleman in Moscow, so I'm also looking forward to that, and Instructions for Dancing. So that is the end of my little list here. There, like I said, it didn't seem like a lot filtering through them pretty quickly, but although this has been filming now for quite some time, so maybe it's more than I suspect. But this is the list that we're going to be going off of for the next foreseeable future here. Looking forward to going in, giving my updates, and finding new things to read. All right, so as you just saw, my tracker is complete. I'm ready to start using it. I actually have got some books on there that I need to go ahead and update. The end of June is upon us, and I will have a June wrap up, hopefully not 2 weeks later, but sometime soon. That's it. I will be following up during the wrap-ups and probably periodically throughout time with an update on how the TBR tracker is going, and we'll let you guys know where I'm at. So if you're also doing some type of challenge where you want to get through your bookshelf, let me know. I could use some solidarity in this, but I'm on a ban, okay? We're not buying new books. We have plenty of books. I have all this stuff. All right, thank you for joining me on this fun little journey that we're on to get through our bookshelf, and I will talk to you later. Bye.